up, guys? I'm Amanda, the Botanical Brunette, and welcome to my channel. So happy new year. We are in 2023. I am so ready for this new year. Really actually kind of hyped because 23 is my lucky number. I'm born on March 23rd and 23 has just been a recurring number for me. So I am so excited for 2023. So I'm hoping that this is gonna be my good luck year. So I got a huge plant for the last plant of 2022. So I can't wait to show you guys that and everything. But the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about some expectations for this year. The one thing that you guys are probably wondering about, I have been kind of hinting at it and kind of even asking you guys about it, that is my plant hauls. For my plant hauls this year, I actually am going to be doing them instead of monthly. They'll be every other month. I love doing the plant hauls. It's just so not sustainable buying plants every month. I know that it's like my favorite thing to do, shopping, buying plants. Like it's just I love it, but I'm getting way overwhelmed with my collection. I have a lot of plants. I am still going to create a wish list, which I will put up here. So you'll see the wish list that I have for 2023. These are actually going to be plants that I've either wanted and kind of maybe had on my honorable mentions for 2022, or ones that I didn't check off. So I'll be completely honest with you guys. It was the last few months and I'm pretty upfront, I'm pretty transparent. What you see is what you get with me. And I've been kind of having a hard time with my plant hauls. So for instance, when I would do my plant hauls, a lot of times I would mention, oh, I had to like run to Lowe's or Home Depot and buy whatever I could find. And that's really shouldn't be what it's about. So I know that you guys love my plant hauls and I love doing my plant hauls. I love plant shopping and I still have a ton of plants that I want to get, but I don't know if I can do it every single month. So that's why I decided to do it every other month and we'll see how that goes. As far as the plant hauls, I do want to still do my wish list. So I will try not to buy plants kind of willy-nilly. I'll still kind of stick with that wish list. I really curated this wish list to have only plants that I really want. Some of them are big ticket items, so I may only be able to get one plant in that month. I do still want to kind of play with that $50 budget. It is a fun kind of thing if I can stick with it and also kind of like keep me in line with my budget so I don't go too crazy. But like if I were to get like a Monstera elbow, that's going to be like a good chunk of change. There's no way that I'm gonna find a Monstera elbow for under $50. So I'm gonna have to get creative with that budget, but I'm gonna try to stick with it and see if I can do it still. We're gonna see. But it will actually, when you guys see it, it'll be $100. So because I'm doing it every other month, I'll have a $100 budget and see if I hit or went under that $100 budget. So kind of going into my plant collection and how I'm becoming a little overwhelmed. So I don't know what switched in my brain. I don't know if it's like the spring cleaning in me, like I'm starting to get in that spring mode or what, but I started to kind of look at my plant collection and I'm like, whoa, like this is crazy. This is getting a little out of hand. And what I mean by that is I feel like it's kind of cluttered. My goal for 2023 with my plant collection is actually to get rid of at least 25% of my plant collection. That could be really easy if I were to just take like all of my jade pothos, let's say for instance, because I have jade pothos in every room, either propagating or hanging in pots. I had one jade pothos that I bought like 4 years ago and this plant has just busted with growth and I have multiple pots. So I could take a 12-inch pot and put them all together and have one plant. But I'm talking about species of plants. I'm gonna try to get rid of some of the plants that are just I'm not loving. The last couple of months I have mentioned that there are plants in my collection that I'm not loving and stuff like that, and I kind of gave you guys an idea of what to do with those. So it will be kind of a bunch of things here and there. I'm gonna get rid of them slowly, but I can't really, I feel like I almost want to do something where like I get a plant, I get rid of a plant, I get a plant, I get rid of a plant. That's literally what I do when I buy new clothes, is like if I buy like a couple new shirts, I will get rid of a couple shirts or put them to donate. I kind of want to put that into plants. And like if I buy a plant, get rid of a plant that you're not loving anymore. I have started to, because I live in Florida, I can do it a little bit earlier, but because the sun isn't as harsh and it's not as hot and humid, I can start to acclimate plants outside. So I've started to put some plants outside. I'm gonna start acclimating plants. So I wanna show you guys that process of like acclimating plants, or really just coming along with me and making that hard decision to get rid of a plant that I may have loved at one point, but I don't have love for it anymore. I am just like really excited to kind of dwindle down my plant collection, retain my room back, be able to get that plant room back to where I can have like maybe a reading spot or something like that. A lot of this channel is also going to be incorporating plants into home decor. I really am loving home decor. I'm kind of switching my styles up, so I'm gonna take you guys along with doing that. So it's just kind of a little bit of the same as what I've been doing. I do want to do a lot more care videos, individual plant care videos, and I also want to start doing more chore videos. I know that you guys love those types of videos too. Every time I've asked you guys what you want to see, those are kind of like really kind of big things. I also want to learn at least 10 things this year new in the plant world. Doesn't matter what it was. Last year I learned how to air layer and to use pond, and I want to learn like 10 things this year and teach you guys those 10 things that I learned, because I want to kind of learn together. And kind of going into dwindling down my plant collection, going into like plant care and anything that all kind of comes together and turns into plant tours. I'm going to be doing more plant tours. You guys ask about my room all the time. I don't film in it anymore. I film in my office area. My bed is actually right here. So it's like my little like office corner in my bedroom. But I am going to do more plant tours. I know that you guys want to see my room. You guys want to see what's going on in there. Again, I don't film in there as much anymore. I kind of wish I did. It's just easier if I film in here, because since my husband and I now both work from home, we kind of had to move our stuff around. His office is actually right off of the living room, which is right off the plant room. So if he's on a call, I can't do a video, that kind of thing. So it's just easier for me to record in here than work with our schedules. Those are pretty much the things that I want to do this year. Really, I mean, those are just a few things that I want to accomplish this year. I want to basically do on this channel pretty much kind of the same thing. The only thing that will be really changing, I think, is the frequency of my plant hauls, and also my wish list has changed. But speaking of wish list, let's dive in and see what plants did I get for 2022? What's the last plant did I check off my wish list? And then at the end, I'm going to do a recap on all the plants that I got this year and what plants I checked off. And I'll also give you a little tip and see if they're still alive. So let's get started. Let me show you the first plant that I got for the month of December, the last plant of 2022. Now, when I tell you that I got a big plant, I got a big plant. So this is my Dracena marginata, or the Madagascar dragon tree. Guys, I have to figure out where to put it. Look how big that plant is. I'm so excited to check this off. So I was at Lowe's. Like I had mentioned before, I, out of desperation, go to these places and try to find any plant. And sometimes I get lucky and I get a plant that's actually on my wish list. Now, this wasn't on my main wish list. This was on my honorable mentions, but still in my wish list. The last plant on my wish list, you guys will find out in a second. I did not get it. It was just not available for me. So we're gonna transfer her over to next year and hopefully I'll get it next year. But let's talk about this. Dracaena, I am so happy to have this plant. I love Dracaenas. They are so easy to care for. I have a Dracaena Whitebird, which is also a plant that I'm probably gonna get rid of. I love this dragon tree. It is so pretty. It fits so nice in this corner. I have a light that kind of comes down over it, and I just got this brand new mirror. So like I said, I'm redoing like my whole like home decor, changing up my style a little bit. I went to Home Depot out of desperation and I'm like, let me see what they have. And they had this dragon tree and I just had to get it. It's kind of funny, all of the dragon trees in Home Depot were $50. I was looking through it and I'm like, $50 is kind of a lot. I don't know. And I don't know if it was a switch or what. All the bucket said, or the the planter, the cover pot, it's like a white plastic cover pot around the nursery pot. It said tree. That's all it said on it. So I'm like, okay. And this Dracaena was $29.98. It was on sale, like clearance plant. I got really, really lucky with that. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna grab it. The trunk was actually braided, which I did not like. So I unbraided it and kind of gave it kind of more of a wild like look. I kind of like that, like almost palm tree kind of look. So I took the plant and I picked it up and I noticed that the top of the soil was like, it was literally drowning, this plant in Home Depot. Drowning. I don't know if they had just watered it or what, but the water level was about an inch off the topsoil. And I was like, I need to save this plant. And I'm like, well, it's discounted, so maybe it's root rotted. I took the plant out of the cover pot and there was at least a foot of water in the cover pot. I dumped it out, and when I tell you the smell, it smelled like straight up poop. Like it smelled like feces. It was disgusting. But I was like, I don't care. I want this plant. I'm gonna figure it out. So I dumped out the water and I just kept dumping it and dumping it and dumping it. I was walking around Home Depot with this plant like over my shoulder like a badass. I kept like stopping and like pretending to look at another plant and like tilting it and still pouring water out. And I'm like, oh, this plant is gonna be a nightmare when I get home. I kind of took it out just enough, like about, I would say like 6 inches out of the pot, just to see, because a lot of the times when I get plants from Lowe's and Home Depot, they're like root bound. So I pulled it out and I could see that the roots were still creamy white. They were still good. So I'm like, worst comes to worst, the roots at the bottom are not good and I can just cut those off and it will be fine. But when I brought it home, I brought it outside to repot it because it was just, it stunk. It smelled like awful. It smelled like a sewer. Like it was disgusting. I brought it outside and I repotted it. Took off, I would say, at least 75% of the soil. I didn't want to disturb it too much, but I took like 75% of the soil off and repotted it in this beautiful fluted pot that it's in right now and placed it in my living room. Now this plant gets about, I would say, low to medium light in the morning. It gets like sprinkled with sunlight, and then the rest of the day it's kind of lower light. So I'm gonna see how well that does. I know that the Dracaenas can tolerate lower light, but obviously no plant is going to thrive in low light. So I'm gonna see how it does. So this plant was not really a rehab. Luckily the roots were looking good and everything like that, and it seems to be happy in that spot. So I got this Dracaena as my first and only plant of December. So this is my first and last plant of December, my last plant of 2022 was this big Dracaena. I went out with a bang, guys. Like, this is like, oh, I love this plant so much. Like, it's just so pretty, and I'm really happy that I have one in my collection. Like I really said from the beginning, I am just a sucker for like common houseplants. Just really common plants like that just make a nice statement in your house. Like, I'm a sucker for. Like, I love it. That is it. That's the plant that I got for the month of December and the year of 2022. Like, that's it. My grand total for December was $29.98, which is so great. So happy that I stuck with my budget for the last month. I know that it's not a rare plant or anything like that. I did have, and I do have a video coming soon that I'm very excited about. I'm gonna kind of hint at it and whatever. I had a small hiccup with the company, but it will work out, I promise. So I have a really fun video coming, hopefully this month. I'm not 100% sure. If not this month, it will definitely be next month. I cannot wait for you guys to see. Plant haul 2022 is over. So let's look at my wish list and see what I checked off, and I'll also let you know if any of these plants are still alive. Some of them probably are not. Let's see. So my wish list. So the only plant I could not check off was a queen anthurium. I have seen some at Equigeria for like $60, and I'm definitely going to get that plant, but every time I tried to get it, it would be out of stock. So I set up a little alert on their website where, like, if it comes back in stock, I'll get an email. So maybe in February I'll get it. Who knows? So that was the last plant that I did not get for the year 2022. But here are the plants that I got: an Alocasia zebrina, Caletheia orbifolia, Snow Queen pothos, a Monstera subpinnata, a Monstera insonii, Monstera soteroi, Philodendron soteroi, a Anthurium crystallinum, a Alocasia silver dragon, Fascia japicana, Burgundy rubber tree, and a Philodendron white knight or princess. Out of all of these plants in my wish list, I no longer have the silver dragon. That one ended very quickly. It died very quickly. I don't know if you guys remember, but I bought like a seedling, like a little tiny baby, and it root rotted like within a couple weeks. Like, I need to like get a full plant, but honestly, like it honestly probably would have been one of those plants that I would have gotten rid of because I don't really care for it anymore. I saw it, I added it, I wanted it. Now I'm like, I could take it or leave it. They're beautiful, don't get me wrong, but I don't know if I need that in my collection. So my honorable mentions: Philodendron Rio, Parlor Palm. I had a cat palm on there, but I figured it was close enough. Hoya Wayeti, the Anthurium radicanes luxurians, pitcher plant, umbrella plant, an orchid, and a Philodendron golii. And now I can check off this beautiful Madagascar dragon tree. So those are all the plants that I have from my wish list. Out of all of these plants, the pitcher plant is no longer alive. I do not have that anymore. Out of all of those plants, two of them are the only two that have died in my collection. So yeah, I'm just really excited to see like what plants I can get this year. Hopefully with me only doing these plant hauls every other month, this will avoid me running to Lowe's and Home Depot out of desperation, even though it's been working out in my favor, but like not having to like run out there and get plants just to get plants for a haul. Not really sustainable, and also it's not really fair to you guys. You guys don't want to see me like, oh yeah, I got this air plant because it's the only thing that I could get. I want you guys to be excited. I want you guys to be like, oh my god, what did she get like for plants? I'm really excited. Again, here is my wish list for this year. I'm really excited to check off all those plants. We'll see if I can check them off, and we'll see if I will be able to replace a plant every time I buy one, or at least maybe every 2 plants get rid of 1. I haven't really decided how many plants I want to get rid of, or really what plants are going where, whether I want to sell them or put them outside or do what. So we'll figure that out, and I'll let you guys know when I figure it out. So that's it for today. Let me know what's your last plant purchase of 2022. What is the last plant that you bought for 2022? I think it's kind of fun to see like what's that plant that ended the year for your plant shopping or whatever. So, but that's it. So I hope you guys all have a great day and stay botanical.